For decades now, Kenya is well known for exports of tea, coffee and flour. However, the export market is demanding more produce from Kenyan farmers. A prime example is Hass avocado. Hass avocado has been gaining a lot of attention, and for a good reason. It is compared to other avocado varieties and it is more resistant to diseases, takes few years to mature and has a better taste and shelf life. Kenya is also an ideal location for avocado production since it is in the subtropical climates where avocados do well. South Africa and Kenya are major exporters of avocados in Kenya, with the Hass, Fuerte and Pinkerton varieties. The main avocado seasons in Kenya is from March to September. The Fuerte variety starts fruiting as early as February, while the Hass is normally available from May. Nonetheless, due to the difference in climatic conditions and different avocado growing zones in Kenya, there are fruits throughout the year, although in small quantities which are mainly sold locally. On today's episode of Fresh and Fruity, we talk to an expert in the fresh produce export industry on avocados for export market. Ojepat Okisegere is the CEO of Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya, which is a leading trade association committed to driving the growth and success of produce companies and farmers for export markets.
I work for Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya, FPC Kenya, and we are a trade association, and we're here to, as an association, the first thing you do is to advocate for good practices, ensure that the good culture in business. And in relationship to avocado, we've been championing good quality, good markets, looking at the volumes, looking at the quality, looking at the entire value chain from the grower through to the marketplace. And that's what we're busy with every day. And we do this for the horticulture industry and for the fresh market across the board. Both we're looking at the domestic, regional and the global markets.
More than 150,000 metric tons of avocados are produced by 70% of small-scale farmers in Kenya annually. However, this is not enough. There is more demand by consumers for the Hass, Fuerte and Jumbo varieties, not only in Kenya, but also in the export market.
Our market for avocado is enormous. This has happened over years. We currently in Kenya have popularly two varieties. This Fuerte that comes in lesser volumes, and we have Hass that is the majority of what we export. And of course we have the last variety, which it's a traditional variety called Jumbo, which we sell locally. But destined to Europe, you're looking at Hass as the main export avocado variety that Kenya produces. Gladly last year we were the top in the continent. We overtook South Africa in terms of the avocado exports. And this is an encouragement to us when we look at where we've come from as a country and where we're headed to. And I want to repeat here that there's a future, a bright future for the market. We're currently exporting to different destinations. The majority of it goes to Europe. We have something going into Russia. We have avocados going into Middle East, different countries, destinations. And we have a market that is opened up in South Africa. 10 years down the line, we have reopened the market. So we've just opened up the season for Fuerte, 1st February, and we will be opening up the market for Hass 1st March. Many players, actors are now preparing for this. And I can encourage you, as long as we have our volumes well and our quality well defined, the market for avocado is not a challenge.
Kenyan farmers are taking up the mantle to grow avocados to meet these two markets. As a result, Kenya is now among the world's biggest exporters of avocados and currently the world's 6th largest exporter of the fruit.
As long as you meet the regulations to export, any Kenyan, any person who is in this country can export, so long as you have a registered company or business that has met the requirement by the regulator. Here being HCD, which is basically directorate in charge of horticulture, which is under AFA. If you have met those requirements and you have a credible source of your raw material and you have a market that you've established, you can export. And if you have no market you have established, we can help you to get the markets in different destinations. Of course, some markets will require that you go through certification. Some markets do not require certification, but the market is here. The demand for avocado is going high as long as we have the right quality.
With the Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya FPC opening up market for fruit farmers, there are several standards that farmers and exporters should meet to verify the produce is in good state for export.
The first standard that you have to meet is to ensure that the avocado tree, fruit that you're selling is mature enough. And if you're not sure, then you can do an oil test. And this is being offered by HCD. Then they will tell you oil content. Once you're told about the oil content and you're happy about it, it's good to sell. The other size, the standard that we look at here is the best way is how do you display your avocado in terms of sizes. The sizes then will vary, size 24, size 16, 18. These sizes means the number of fruits that fit on a box at that point in time. The box is about 4 kgs. But most of the standards then that are to be met by the exporter are market standards. For example, the common one is global gap, which is a requirement not by us, but by the market that you export to. Some markets will ask you for global gap. Some markets will only want you to have met the oil content. Specific markets then will require extras, but they will always ask you for the extras. For Kenya, what we are saying, what you need to meet is good agricultural practices and that you have a traceability system that is able to trace back your production, your produce from the farmer through to the market and vice versa. That's what we're looking at here. So let's not complicate things. It is achievable.
Having all these standards set for export market, there are additional guidelines and steps an avocado farmer should follow to ensure their produce has good market quality.
What we're looking at here is to ensure that the farmer has produced them following good agricultural practices. The beauty with avocado in Kenya is most of us do not spray. So at the farm level, we have encouraged growers to have traps that will pick out some fruit fly or some flies that will attract them so that they don't hurt the tree. The other common practice that we must ensure, where there's no sufficient rain, it's good for those who are able to afford irrigation to do irrigation. But generally, it is good agricultural practices. Clean the crop, ensure pruning has been done on time, ensure you have done a bit of nutrition. People do a bit of fertilizer, and most of the farmers just do the ordinary farmyard manure and a bit of a foliar feed, which does not have pesticides. So that's the advantage you have. And the other advantage you have in this country is that most of our avocados are rain-fed, and therefore they assume the natural taste. And that is what our market requires. They admire our fruit because it has that natural taste grown naturally. So that's what we are. So those guidelines are there. And for any extras based on the market, then once the market demands for specific extras, we from the association and the regulator are able to help the specific farmer, and not just farmer, an actor, specific actor, either farmer, a supplier, or an aggregator, or an exporter, or a processor, to get what they require.
In Kenya, there are 3 avocado varieties common to farmers. These are the Hass variety, Fuerte and the Jumbo varieties. These varieties have a market niche both locally and internationally for their health benefits.
We have 2 main varieties, but we have a third variety which we naturally call our Kenyan. People call it traditional. We call it Jumbo in Kenya. This is what we have traditionally consumed in our local homes. And then we have Fuerte and we have Hass. In terms of volumes, we're sending more of Hass, followed by Fuerte, and then Jumbo. Those are the 3 main varieties that we have in Kenya.
Fuerte avocados have a pear shape. Their skin is thin, glossy, green and slightly textured and relatively loose, making the fruit easily to peel. They are available in Kenya throughout the year. However, large volumes are available from February to September before low season strikes.
Now we have markets like in Turkey that are asking more of fuerte than hash. In a few years when avocado started, it started with fuerte, people moved to hash, and now we're seeing specific markets asking for fuerte. We also have markets like in the Middle East that are demanding for jumbo. And they really want availability of products. You know that Europe is very specific when it comes to sizes, when it comes to arrangement, but we're happy that we have a variety of markets. Looking at Middle East, looking at you bring us the fruit so long as it's mature. And looking at Europe saying arrange them in a specific pattern and order, and parts like others coming out. I think it's important that we appreciate that diversity. My encouragement is that there's a emerging market for fuerte, and it's important that we stick on it. So if you have two varieties, just stick on them. You have an advantage because then you have to sell to different markets. You do not need to cut down fuerte because market is coming up. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's for sure something is about to happen when it comes to fuerte and the demand that is now rising.
After the break, we shall learn more on the markets and how an avocado farmer can access and satisfy the international market demand for avocados.